Set me on and take my life. Forward.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you I'm standing up here in awe about how awesome this is. To see smiling faces, to see this community pull together in such a quick, short period of time when we started planning this, and to see the turnout, I am just blown away. So thank you all for coming out. It's amazing. And the weather actually cooperated, which is nice. So my name's Troy Bryn. I'm the veterans agent here in the town. I have the fortunate opportunity to work with all the veterans and their families on a variety of different issues. And it's my honor to be up here and MC this today. I want to acknowledge our Gold Star families that are in the audience today. If you would please raise your hand and just wave. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. It's one of the main reasons that we're here today is to honor the service and sacrifice of not only the service members, but also the family members as well. So thank you. So fellow veterans, distinguished guests, family and friends of Palmer, welcome to the Town of Palmer's annual Memorial Day observance. We'll start today's ceremony with the invocation given by Reverend Bruce Presswood Taylor from the Second Congregational Church.
I'm not a veteran myself. My father served in World War II on 2 troop transport trips, the USS Rainier and the USS Stewart. I didn't find out until 3 months before he died in 2005 that he had actually been ashore in Okinawa. And it was powerful to hear the experiences that he had there. And I say that as an introduction to what I have to say with my written invocation. We do, in fact, gather here upon the shoulders of all those who have gone before us, for we are the heirs of their toils, their gifts, their lives, and their sacrifice. This day in particular, we remember the service and the sacrifice of members of our nation's armed services who are no longer with us. May our gathering kindle their memories in our hearts. May these memories stir us to live in ways that embody the highest ideals of our nation's founders. And so may our own lives be a living tribute to the veterans who died in service of those ideals.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please rise, if you can, if you're able, remove your hats, and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'll remain standing, as Noah Liss from season 6 of The Voice is now going to sing and play the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors and star-spangled banner, yet wave o'er the lead and the home
Thank you, Noah. That was amazing. One of Palmer's own right there. Will you please join me in a moment of silence to honor those service members who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. You may be seated. In attendance for today's observance from Massachusetts House of Representatives is 1st Hamden District State Representative Todd Smaller. Councilors at large, President Ms. Lorinda Baker, Clerk Mr. Robert Lavoie, and Ms. Jessica Sizer. From District 1, Mr. Philip Abert. District 2 and Council Vice President Ms. Barbara Berry. District 3, Mr. Carl Williams. And District 4, Mr. Matthew Lemieux. Also in attendance today is Town Manager Mr. Ryan McNutt. Thank you for attending today, ladies and gentlemen. Now the commander of American Legion Post 130 will lay the wreath in remembrance of all the men and women, past and present, who have and continue to sacrifice so very much in defense of this great nation.
Attention! Present on! Though these flowers may wither, let their symbol last for eternity. Order up!
During the course of this past difficult year and throughout the global pandemic, we've tragically lost so many people, to include veterans from here in our own community. I will now read the names of those veterans who have passed on during the course of the pandemic. Robert F. Ritter, Air Force, Korean War. Joseph J. Charbonneau, Navy, Vietnam War. Stanley E. Zajac, Army, Vietnam War. Stanley D. Skawara, Navy, Korean War. Robert McKee, Navy, World War II. Ernest E. Leonard, Air Force. John R. Butcher, Jr., Army, Vietnam War. Alfred W. Bisnet, Army, Korean War. Donald F. Ream, Army. Donald J. Blias, Air Force. Donald R. Sharon, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam War. Edmund F. Wojciechowicz, Navy, World War II. Donald J. Mann, Army, Korean War. Thomas W. Haley, Jr., Coast Guard, World War II. William W. Webb, Navy, Korean War. David P. DeMeo, Army, Korean War. Alan M. Sanders, Air Force. Frederick J. De Leon, Army Air Forces, Korean War. Edward A. Schlesinger, Army, World War II and Korean War. Harold A. Pitch, Army, Vietnam War. Robert J. Robinson, Army, Korean War. Scott L. Jackson, Navy. Lewis W. Roman, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam War. Gary N. Vickers, Air Force. Chester F. Brosnick, Navy, Korean War. Joseph A. Pulowski, Army, World War II. Alfred W. Deo, Jr., Navy. Edward J. Dimblowski, Army, Vietnam War. William R. Dubuque, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Robert A. Fancy, Navy, Vietnam. Ronaldo Pedraza, United States Marine Corps, Persian Gulf. Francis St. Andre, Navy. It's humbling. Sorry, I'm a little choked up. Now will you please join me in welcoming from American Legion Post 130, Commander Mr. Matthew Ney.
First of all, I'm going to reiterate, thank you all for coming, and wow, this crowd is amazing, and the parade we had was huge. Everyone should be very proud of themselves for coming out today and to honor those that have passed on in service to their country. I don't know if you noticed, I was on the motorcycle with this lovely little flag stand over here. And this was actually made by my father, who passed a few years ago, and he was a veteran. And it's got the 5 service flags on it in proper order, the American flags on the motorcycle. But I want to draw everyone's attention to the centerpiece in the middle, the rifle downwards with the helmet on top and boots in front. Many people have seen this, but not everyone understands what it is. Starting off back in the Civil War, when a fellow soldier passed on the battlefield, a wooden plaque would be chiseled with their name on it so their fellow soldiers can see where they passed, where they were, and pay their respect, because although the body might have been returning home or buried there, the soldiers that fought with that fallen comrade was not able to go back and participate in the funeral. So they would have their own little service and memorial for them on the battlefield. As war evolved and progressed in World War I, when rifles and helmets were issued, rifles were thrust into the ground and the fallen soldier's helmet was placed on top. A place again for the soldiers who fought with the fallen comrade to have a place to memorialize that fallen friend, brother, what have you. Because again, the soldiers are not able to return home with the bodies to help remember. Again, as wars progressed and everything moved on, boots were added, the rifle was put in the boots, helmet on top, and eventually dog tags were added when they became standard issue. The dog tags, so those who came by could see who had fallen. With modern technology, we're also able to add pictures of our fallen brothers and sisters. As a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm fortunate to say that my companies that I was with did not lose anyone directly. But I've been to more than my fair share of memorial services in country. Again, seeing that in the ground reminds me, tells me that someone fell, someone was lost. A father, a sister, a mother, a best friend, a spouse. Somebody is not returning home. And those fellow comrades were unable to attend the funeral back home for their fallen brother or sister. So they had their own ceremony with boots placed nicely, the fallen soldier's rifle facing down, and their personal helmet on top and dog tags draped. This is a way for those in service to remember, and that's why we are here today, is to remember those that have fallen in service of this country. Thank you all for coming.
Now, will you please join me in welcoming our next guest, Palmer Zone from the Massachusetts House of Representatives in First Hampden District, State Representative Mr. Todd Smollett.
Thank you very much, Troy, and thank you everybody here in Palmer for coming out. I've got to say, Noah, what an outstanding job with our national anthem. I felt like I was at the opener at Red Sox, Fenway Park. That was just absolutely phenomenal. Talk about a performance that has helped to lift the start of this ceremony after such a challenging year that everybody has gone through. I do also want to make a special a note of appreciation to Bob Lavoie on the town council who helped put this event together and did all the legwork. Bob, thank you very much for all your work to make sure that we had a Memorial Day ceremony. There are a lot of communities that have jettisoned this annual event this year because of the circumstances, and so Palmer came together and decided that the importance of it meant something. And I just cannot believe the turnout here. For those of you that don't participate in this event on a regular basis every year, please come back. It lifts everybody up so high that we can pay honor and recognition and tribute to the veteran men and women that we honor here today. The challenges of the last year have touched all of us in so many different ways, from our children that have had to learn in a different way at school, but no more so than for our veteran community that has, as a result of this pandemic, had to do different things personally in order to persevere through it, whether it was to have to segregate or quarantine or isolate. And I've had the opportunity over the last year to talk with some of them in various settings, some of them commenting upon me how sad they were that they didn't get to see their friends, that they didn't get to participate in events with their families because they had to do 10, 11, 12 months of isolation for the sake of their health. That's a really sad situation that this pandemic has brought reality right to our front doorsteps. I hope that we're all thinking today about the terrible tragedy of what happened at our Holyoke Soldiers Home here in Western Massachusetts a year ago, where we lost 77 veterans as a result of this pandemic, through no fault of the wonderful nurses and healthcare staff that worked there, but through some very terrible circumstances, succumbed to the worst of this virus. As a result of this, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has come together to pass a brand new bill that will spend $500 million to build a brand new facility in Western Massachusetts that's state-of-the-art, that is guaranteed to take care of our veteran men and women. We've let them down on this one. We can do better in Massachusetts, and we will. And let me say that the pandemic of the last year reminds me of the sacrifice that we are honoring to those individuals that laid their lives on the lines. Circumstances in life come around that we cannot predict and that we are not aware of, and that we have to react in a moment's notice. That's what our veteran men and women have done throughout the course of American history. They were thrown into circumstances far beyond their personal control, and they reacted because they answered the call of their country, not for themselves, but to do that for all of us. I periodically go to the Holyoke Soldiers Home and talk to veterans, including veterans that have been there from the town of Palmer and all of its villages. I remember speaking to one a few years ago. We were exchanging some pleasantries about our families, and he said something very interesting to me that has always stuck with me. He said, "Use your time wisely, because there isn't enough of it." And he was sharing with me the idea that we all have a responsibility to give back, to participate, to do something within our countries, within our communities, with our brothers and sisters, with our neighbors, and with our friends. And this last year, we have really had to rally for one another, to help one another through all of the challenges that everyone has endured. But keep in mind to use your time wisely. The last year on the political landscape has brought some very tragic circumstances, many different examples of American citizens butting heads with one another over differing opinions. We can do better than what we've seen in the last year. Always recognize the fact that in this great democracy, there is room for disagreement. That is the very bedrock and the foundation of what this country is all about. But by God, we have got to remember the boundaries of civility when we are having that disagreement. We must never forget that the person next to us that shares an opinion that is different from our own has every right to be heard just as we do. That's what makes America great, and we do our very best work when we come together and we can reason and we can compromise. We are drifting away from that in the last year. And I hope that as we move out of this terrible pandemic, that we will come back to that reality of civility with one another, to recognize that when we use the tools and the technology that we now have, where you can so quickly come out and bite and stab at your neighbor, that we do it, but in a way that is constructive, that moves our community forward, that moves our nation forward, to recognize that we are all here together and that we sink and swim and rise and fall together as one community, as one state, and as one nation. So I am honored to be here with all of you today. But do not forget that the reason we are here today is because men and women who have died for this country have given us every freedom and every blessed thing that we enjoy. And it's because of that loss of life that we live in the greatest country in the entire world, the United States of America. Thank you.
Now, will you please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Counselor at Large and Town Council President, Ms. Lorinda Baker.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for coming out. I do want to second thanks to Noah, who always gives his time at many events in town. He does a wonderful job. And also Bob Lavoie, Councilor Bob Lavoie, when we had our council meeting and it was announced we were not going to have a parade, I think the next day Bob went to the police department and got a permit for a parade and called me and said, we're having a parade. So, yep. Yep. We got on the phones, we started calling everybody we knew, and we actually put together a really good parade for super short notice. But I realize that the crowds are a lot bigger this year. And the thing that touches me the most is seeing the little kids waving the flags. We have to continue to bring our kids out because we're all getting older. Somebody has to learn the value and the importance of this day so that they can put on these parades in the future. And that's it, because I can't follow Todd Smola. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
We will now render honors to the service members and veterans who have passed on as the veterans of the American Legion will perform the traditional rifle salute, followed by the rendering of taps.
Seated. Attention. For us. Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Present up.
Now the Palmer High School Band will perform God Bless America. Outstanding job. Now, you know we can't just walk away and let Noah just sing one song. His amazing voice, and he's so talented, and thanks so much, Noah, for gracing us today and being a part of this great ceremony. So I'm going to hand it over to him.
If tomorrow things are gone and were for my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, and the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And no one will forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. I'm proud to be an American, when at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the ones who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless our men and women of uniform. We thank you so much. Thank you for your service.
Amazing, Noah. Thank you. Now, Reverend Bruce Presswood Taylor will deliver the benediction.
I've been keeping track, and the only one who got more time on a microphone besides me was no less. And our veteran service agent, Troy Brin. And I thank you, Troy, for inviting me. It's an honor to be here today. If you would join me in a moment of prayer, or a moment of thought or meditation, depending on your predilection. Loving God, the framers of our Declaration of Independence claimed that you have endowed us with inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet there are those who would take these from us. Today we remember all those who have served in our country's armed forces to preserve the freedoms you have granted us, to make it impossible for those who would take away our freedoms from prevailing. For the men and women who serve in the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, we ask your blessing. For the family members who have made great sacrifices in order to make it possible for their service members to be on watch at home or around the world, or to go in harm's way, we ask your blessing. For the families who grieve the death of a member who went in harm's way, never to return, we ask your special blessing. Jesus said that no one has greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. For all those veterans who have been willing to lay down their lives for us, we remember and we ask your blessing. Amen.
Now the Boy Scouts will raise the flags to full mast.
Present on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our Memorial Day observance today. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending today, and please come back. We do this in November for Veterans Day, and we also do it every Memorial Day, so please come back and be a part of this. There's so many people to thank that makes this happen. You've heard Counselor at Large Rob Lavoie pulled this together. First and foremost, I want to thank my fiance Kara and my family for their continued love and support for dealing with my crazy schedule and everything that goes on. Secondly, I'd love to thank Counselor at Large, Mr. Robert Lavoie, for actually pulling this all together, all the town council members, the town manager, the town administrative staff. Noah Liss, obviously, thank you so much. Noah, if we could get a round of applause again for Noah. He's so talented. I'd also like to thank Harrison Lavoie. He's here every year and does everything, so thank you, Harrison. Palmer Police Department, Palmer Fire, DPW, the Highway Department, everybody that makes this thing all come together. There's so many people, I'm sure I'm missing everybody, but thank you guys so much. And just remember what today is all about. We will never forget your sacrifice. So thank you. Have a great day, everybody.